Let's finish the year strong. Hey ladies, I'm back and this is the Mamas in Control podcast. I'm Heather Chauvin and we have a few weeks left of 2021. It's go time. So every single day you're going to hear a podcast from me. This podcast are tips, tricks, strategies, clips from inside of our mastery and our mastery business coaching experience. We talk about parenting. We talk about emotional health. We talk about managing our energy and our time. But more importantly, this is about how we show up in the world. We all know who we want to become. We know what we don't want in our lives. Therefore, we know what we do want in our lives. And sometimes figuring that out, that's where the magic happens. When we know how to master our fear, master our guilt, master our resistance, and not push through it. This is not about burnout. It's not about hustling. This is about showing up, shifting our identity and showing up in a way that feels aligned and alive with the life that we want to be living. Whether it's at home or in your career, you could work in corporate, you could be a business owner, whoever you are in the world, you are ready to make a bigger impact. You are ready to feel alive. So if you are somebody who's been following me for a while and waiting until we open the doors to our coaching programs, now is the time. We are doing our interviews for 2022 start dates. So head on over to heatherchauvin.com/mastery. Heather Chauvin, CHAUVIN.com/mastery. And if you are interested in our mastery business coaching experience, this is for women, professional women who are either trying to leave corporate and want to market their skills. You are a badass and you know you're good at it, but you just have no idea how to do marketing or sales. Check out our mastery business experience. That's Heather Chauvin, CHAUVIN.com/business. And maybe you have no desire to start a business, or maybe you don't own a business and you are just incredibly overwhelmed and you have no idea where to start. And the thought of entering a longer term program, whether it's 8 months with a big investment, feels really overwhelming to you. That's why this year we decided to open the doors for the first time ever publicly for our Mastery Jumpstart experience. This is a 2-month container of space helping you start to get the engine going, creating that momentum for you. So you get everything that we give our students inside of our mastery experience. You get a mentor, you get access to me, you get the modules, you get the live calls. And it's only 2 months, which means it's a fraction of the investment as well. So if you've been hanging out a while and you've been wanting to work with me, but you're like, holy crap, how am I going to make this happen? Now is the time. But here's the trick. The doors do close at the end of December, and we will not be opening them again for Mastery Jumpstart until the spring. So now is the time to join us and book that call. So head on over to Heather Chauvin, CHAUVIN.com/mastery. You have one life and so many opportunities to change the trajectory of how you feel and what your future looks like. Now is the time to take that action. heatherchauvin.com/mastery. Do not pass up this opportunity. Once the doors are closed, they will be closed until the spring. All right, let's dive into today's podcast.
It's not the problem that causes our suffering. It's our thinking about the problem that causes the suffering. So this is a quote from Byron Katie. It's one of my favorite quotes. So if suffering isn't a word that works for you, think drama or think uncomfort, discomfort, whatever it may be. It's really not the action that we think is creating the problem. It's the way that we're thinking about the thing that happened that is creating the problem. So what if, how many of us have thought this? I need him to love me. Once I'm out of the pandemic, I'll be free. I need him to change before I can be happy. or I need somebody else to be different before I can find happiness. But what if you don't need anything to change to feel happy? What if you don't need anybody else to be any different to be free? What if you didn't need anything to change to feel connected or loved? So that these thoughts no longer were driving the way that you felt? What if you could just be happy and free and connected and loved no matter what was going on around you? In a pandemic, out of pandemic, in the middle of family drama, in the middle of a temper tantrum. What if we could be all these things, no matter what activity, what is happening around us? So that's the promise and the freedom that we have in doing the work. And it's so simple, so simple. And so it's just 4 questions. Is it true? Can you absolutely know that it's true? What happens when you believe that thought? Who would you be without that thought? And then 3 or 4 turnarounds where you're really searching for how a current situation, you might be able to switch it around in your mind, basically rewiring your brain, and look for how that could be true or truer. So what does the work of Byron Katie do? It does a lot of different things. And these are just some ways that it's been of service to me. And maybe you can think of other things that it helps and is beneficial with. So shows how judgments of others are really just judgments of myself. So when I am judging another person, when I am blaming anger or resentment, I turn it around on myself and I can see, oh, that's because I have a wound within me that still needs to be healed. So it just shows us that clarity, like a bright mirror in front of us. Clearly defines the boundaries. When I do the work, I come from a family where boundaries are sometimes a little fuzzy. And so when I do the work, I understand, oh, this is where I end and that person begins. And I can lovingly allow them to have their own experience. I don't have to fix anything for them. I don't need to change myself to be different for them. I understand where I am and they are, and I can hold that sense of a boundary. It's a clear pathway to emotional intelligence and emotional freedom. We talk a lot about emotional freedom here, and truly, 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 when we dig into these thoughts, these beliefs, these stories, it creates freedom. It actively rewires our brain. So you can see neurons that wire together. So when we have a thought that we're used to thinking, we create this neural network that just goes boop, 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 boop. It just like connects like a deep incised river channel. And as we do the turnarounds, it allows that river system to break through the boundaries and like fill the floodplain. Okay, like I'm a floodplain restoration. So this metaphor works for me, but it like allows all the little rivers and systems to move out. It allows all the other little organisms to live, and it creates a much more rich, diverse ecosystem. So you're creating this more intricate neural network within your brain. It creates empowerment and self-reliance. So I no longer have to rely on validation from others. I don't need another person to change in order for me to be happy. I am reliant here within myself. So ultimately, what all this means is I trust myself. I trust myself. I trust myself in no matter what situation comes up, no matter what happens in my life. So self-trust, I think, is one of the most important acts of self-love that we can have. And so doing the work of Byron Katie, sitting and questioning and being willing to be uncomfortable with the realities and the stories and the feelings that come up and emerge, this is ultimately an act of learning to love yourself and learning to love and trust what is coming up inside of you so that you know your boundary, you know what it means for you to be free, and you can be there within, sitting on the mountainside with a little tuck on your head and just loving life and just being. So I want to, so the work is so simple, so simple. We like to overcomplicate it. It is simple. It's a meditation. It's a quiet space to reflect. It's a practice. And like Heather was saying, you do it over and over and over and over and over. And it's self-inquiry. It's self-led. You don't need a guru to do this. You don't need anybody other than yourself. Sometimes having others who can support you on your path and your journey, super helpful. But when you get real quiet with yourself, real honest with yourself, when you're willing to really see and open up, you have everything you need within you. It's all here.
Hi, I'm Laura Reynolds, and I'm a wife, a mom, and I was a full-time worker in corporate, and I found Heather's work because I heard her on the USU podcast as a guest, and her words just resonated with me. I joined Mastery because I had been in the corporate environment for about 16 years, and I knew something was off. I knew I wanted something different, but I didn't know what, and I'd spent so much time not listening to myself that I just felt stuck. I didn't know where to turn. I didn't know where to go. I knew something needed to change, but I didn't know what. So a ton of things have changed, but I'd say the biggest thing that's changed is that I now spend time listening to myself, and I can actually hear and know what I want and know how to implement that change. So I actually ended up through this program figuring out that I wanted to leave my corporate job, and I actually have started a new career. So I am happier than I've ever been. I just needed that support, that accountability, the tools that Heather gives to figure out how to listen to myself, how to reverse engineer what I wanted to feel like, and then how to implement with small changes. And so I am forever grateful.
Well, that's it. And I wanted to thank you for listening today because I truly believe you are exactly where you need to be. And now I have a favor to ask. In exchange for the value you've gained from this free podcast, I'd be forever grateful if you would leave us a review on iTunes. Share the show with at least one woman in your life who you feel would benefit, and or take a screenshot and share it on social media. And always feel free to tag me at Heather Chauvin. The world does not benefit from your guilt and fatigue. The world needs more women who are willing to unlearn everything they've been taught. Women who are courageous enough to feel good and not let guilt run the show. I believe you are that courageous woman. To see if my community and coaching is the right fit for you and your big vision, the relationships you desire, the money, time, energy that you know deep down you are capable of creating, then head on over to heatherchauvin.com/work with me. That's Heather Chauvin, CHAUVIN.com/work with me. And take the next step in the right direction. Taking a stand for how you feel means you are taking a stand for how your children show up as adults. And if you have a personal question or topic you'd like me to answer on the podcast, text me 313-710-5199. 313-710-5199. You are so worthy of feeling good. Now go do some scary shit.